this tracks with what I heard. So what I heard about the Gears collection was that Gears 1 was a basic remaster, Gears 2 was a full-blown remake, like full-blown remake, like Unreal Engine 5, whatever, and 3 was going to be something a bit more basic. So this tracks with that. The fact that this is just Ultimate Edition redone. It totally tracked with what I had heard about it.
So this was revealed early hours this morning on the Xbox Zero podcast. They were discussing it and how Microsoft is delivering the Gears franchise over to other platforms, in particular PlayStation. And of course, it's going to make sense for them to put that game back onto Xbox as well, because why not? And as you could see, especially with Gears of War Reloaded, which is what they're calling a basic remaster, that game was, given practically, well, basically for free to Xbox customers who had already bought the Ultimate Edition, because it's only going to be a minor improvement over that. Hopefully the PC port will be better. But it seems that the bombshell dropped when it came to Gears of War 2. Now, Gears of War 2 is supposed to be a full-blown remake. Now, this is probably why they're not doing it in the Gears collection, because at this point, Gears of War 2 will, if being a full-blown remake, will probably be full price. So you're getting the people through the front door with the $40 price tag, and they're saying, right, you really like this? Well, we've got E-Day coming as well, but Gears of War 2 will probably land before that if they're doing a full-blown remake, and I suspect they've been working on that for some time. That will land at full price, probably 70 or 80 bucks, probably 70, I'd say. Being a full-blown remake, could be 80, could be 80. Then they're going to get the people interested in that one, invested in, but it made sense to start with Gears 1, especially if E-Day is coming. And we already know that Gears 6 is also in development, but E-Day kind of makes sense. So you see Reloaded land, they're going to be, the players are going to experience that, and then you'll get E-Day, which basically explains the before the first game. It gives you context that wasn't there, that none of us really have. I mean, it's explained in the lore and stuff like that, but to actually be able to play through it is kind of cool. And that's where E-Day, Emergence Day, comes in, which is absolutely awesome. Gears of War 3 is going to be a bit more basic, so we don't know if that's going to be on the level of the first one, or if it's going to have a kind of mix between number 2 and 3. But you could hear Special Nick basically say, do you know what, I don't care anymore, seeing as no one else does, so I'm just going to reveal it, and this is what I've heard. So he's been holding on to this for quite some time, it seems. But you know what? It's out there now, and it looks like, when these will land is going to be the interesting part. Now, the question still beckons, will E-Day be day and date? Or are they going to push Gears Reloaded, then sell Gears 2, and then sell Gears 3, and then port Gears E-Day over to PlayStation? Who knows? But this has all been rather interesting, and it was a bit of a surprise to hear, honestly, with the whole full-blown remake. I thought they were just going to go down the remastered route and port it over to PlayStation. Now, I know a lot of people, especially on Camp Blue, are going to come and say, oh, remasters are good now. Well, the reality is they're porting it to another platform, so it's not really the same. And I know some people are trying to argue that this is the same, so I'm just putting this segment in there to tell you that it is not the same. Now, if Tilu, having been remastered 4,000 times, was ported either to the Nintendo Switch or to Xbox, then there'd be a bit more of a leeway, because at that point you can say, well, yes, it's a remaster and they're redoing it, but they aren't just leaving it on this, they're porting it over to a new platform, and therefore if it's going to the new platform, it's going to come over to PlayStation as well. That's how it works, and that's what they've done here. They've ported it over to Linux for PlayStation and got it working, and now they've got the same over here. And so to me, that justifies this remaster build, because they're building another version of the game for one platform. And why are you going to exclude your own platform? That just doesn't make sense. So this is cool. Gears 2 was a really good game. I mean, all three of these Gears were really good. But it's interesting to see that they wanted to get the first one out the door first. Now, my assumption has always been that E-Day would be a 2026 game and not a 25. And Gears of Gears of War 6 probably a launch next gen console game. But could it actually, with this coming out in August, could E-Day then be landing in like November? I mean, it'll be interesting. I know the anniversary for Gears is coming up as well, so it'll be interesting if they can time it just right, or maybe they're just going to say, hey, do you know what? We're doing Gears Reloaded. We've been working on Gears 2 Remake, Unreal Engine 5, full-blown whack for so long. That's almost ready. And of course, pump that out nearer the time for the anniversary. But it's clear what, Microsoft is doing is pushing these out now and trying to maximize their return on it. They could have released the Gears collection and said, hey, buy all this for $70, and that would have been a cracking deal. But instead, they've decided, hey, we're going to make you pay 3 times for these games. There's no physical copies for these. They're all going to be digital, so deal with it. And that's basically the plan. But it was interesting to see Special Nick actually turn around and actually reveal this yesterday. I was actually watching, and it was pretty... It was a curveball that came out of nowhere. But I'm sure there'll be, gearheads out there that are going to be relishing this and loving the fact that this is coming. Now, all they need to do is announce like a wrap and, a limited edition controller and elite controller. Something that looks really cool that even I would want to buy, because I don't really tend to go for that sort of thing, but the wrap I'm kind of interested in. So maybe even the elite controller, finally, I might pull the plug and pick one up. Who knows? It all depends on the design. But hey, are you excited for Gears 2? Are you excited for Gears Reloaded? Are you excited for the prospect that all 3 of these games are being remastered and re-released and brought back to you in their most definitive form? For Xbox gamers, they'll probably get E-Day before the release of all of this. At least that's my assumption. But even if it's not, you'll be able to play through the saga and then get to see what happens before. And then when Gear 6 drops, tie it all together. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this content, do hit that like button and subscribe. Hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. If you really enjoyed the video and want to support me further, there's that super thanks underneath the video. I appreciate you wholeheartedly for supporting me, or you can support me by becoming a YouTube member. But the easiest, cheapest, and quickest way to support me is by hitting that red button to subscribe, hitting that like button, leaving a comment, hitting that bell, and that support goes a hell of a long way. And with 65% of you returning to view the content over and over again, if you all subscribed, I'd hit my 10,000 goal that I've set myself this year before the month is out. Well, folks, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.